Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm joined by Martin. He's the CEO of Melior AI. Welcome, Martin. Maybe you can start by just telling us a little bit about yourself and Melior AI and where the name comes from.
Wonderful. Hi, Jordan. It's a pleasure to be here. So Melior in Latin means better, and we picked that name as Better AI. We wanted to build better AI and make the name understandable by Europeans and everybody else, kind of, because in other European languages, better sounds similar to Melior.
Awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about what Melior does?
Sure. So we are AI-first legal tech. Where we come from is an old question. How do you answer questions from unstructured documents? And what are the most valuable unstructured documents these days? Those are contracts. Contracts and any legal documents where the questions are precise or that they require precise answers. And it is time-consuming and it is very expensive to deploy human beings who can interpret legal documents and go through them, find the right passages and understand what the insights are, obtain answers, and so on and so on. So we thought to ourselves that AI is in a really good place to start doing proper question answering on really difficult, complex documents that have a lot of value built into them.
Wow. Okay. And what sort of led you to create this solution?
So we started out thinking a bit more abstractly, meaning we were looking at a large number of types of documents that an enterprise would be dealing with. And shortly after our stay at a Switzerland Zurich-based accelerator run by the stock exchange, we've managed to land a mega whale type of a client, Zurich Insurance Group, which has only 55,000 employees, only 55,000 employees. And you can imagine the millions of documents they're drowning in as an insurance company. And we had the privilege of unleashing our systems onto their documents and working with them to observe where the value is, what sorts of questions need to be answered quickly, what processes need to be sped up, and so on and so on. That's the origin story of where we are, of how we started.
Okay. And like what sorts of clients do you serve then if you've got this tiny little small company with hardly any employees and that's where you started? Like what sorts of companies do you serve now?
So it's interesting. It's been a tough journey, to be honest, because once you catch a whale this size as your first client, you have lots of challenges. How do you catch 10 more whales like this? And can you catch 10 more whales like this? Or are you even ready to do that? And we discovered maybe 3 years in that we were not. That one thing that was holding us back was we had a fantastic back-end engine and fantastic API that was able to serve a company of this size and companies of this size. However, the delivery to end user requires very specialized thinking about the user interface. And as long as that was held by somebody else, as long as it was, not our own, we did not control the thinking about it. So we had to take a step back and rethink how we build our platform, how we take our platform forward.
Okay. And so you mentioned a little bit about building the platform. Like what about the AI? Is there some proprietary stuff? I imagine that there is. Is it like completely built from scratch? Is it like an OpenAI wrapper with some stuff layered on top, or what does that look like?
Wonderful question, thank you. So we started out before OpenAI was a twinkle in anybody's eye.
Okay.
So we didn't have the luxury of wrapping around them and taking it to the world. I have the privilege of having a technical co-founder who is incredible. Marcos is incredible. And he grew up building document processing systems for banks and so on and so on. And what he was prophesizing about is that one day language models will be capable enough of what we're seeing right now in ChatGPT and so on and so on. So we started out by building small language models internally and having a layered cake approach. What's a layered cake approach? That's very interesting, actually. So if you think about it, up until sort of, 70 years ago, let's put it like that, 8 years ago, people believed that you could train a model to solve a problem, right? And you would that model would be trained on all the data, and suddenly it would be very intelligent and produce the right answers. But that's false. Why? As a human being, as an intelligent creature, you don't learn like this. You learn how to read. You learn how to comprehend the language. You learn in layers, and then you add specialized models where you need to. So when you need to learn a bit about chemistry or physics or something, you don't learn how to read from scratch in order to learn chemistry. So that's what we call a layered cake approach, where we've built layers of models that could provide document comprehension, that could provide, I'm not going to bore you to death with what, but basically layers of, let's say, comprehension. And on top of that, you would have thin or thin-ish layer that specializes in certain questions. And now that brings us today. So today is no longer 7 years ago. We have access to all of these wonderful open source and not open source LLMs. Of course, we've incorporated them, as well as we are incorporating agentic approach as well, because, what's available on the technology end is always going to be moving forward, and it is moving forward. But it's about exposing the end user to the best possible combination of underlying technologies exposed through easy to use interface. That's really where we are.
Right. Got it. Okay. So that must have been quite a journey building all of that. Setting that precedent. Impressive. Okay. So, given that you are now in 2025, when everyone has some sort of AI solution, like what sorts of trends do you see coming in the next few years, specifically with AI and in SaaS?
I will not focus on AI in general. I will talk about the type of AI I have something to say about, enterprise AI that focuses on document processing, right?
Okay.
And the trends around that, first of all, what we've all learned in 23, 24 is that out of the box, OpenAI, ChatGPT, and all of that is nice in theory. It's good to build demos with, but in terms of production level accuracy and reliability, no. And why not? Because it's a bit like asking a teenager to guide you through brain surgery. Yeah, they can read, they can write. Would you trust them with that? I would not. It requires a different level of specialization and overview and supervision and all of that and training to get to that level. So you need to take a controlled approach to AI. Your base level models will never be specific enough to, let's say, do a good job in that respect. And it takes understanding and smart engineering team of AI/engineering team to understand how to combine models, how to apply guidelines to models, how to do a bit of prompt engineering, how to do all of the RAG stuff, all of the agentic stuff, and a lot more to make sure that makes sense, that answers are reliable. It will not just come out of the box as a wrapper around some magical DNA.
And my experience has been that a lot of these AIs get very simple maths equations wrong. So I don't know if I trust them with my important legal documents.
You shouldn't.
Yeah.
But these things, okay, let's understand that this is really fundamentally important, and a lot of people get it wrong. Current LLMs are wonderful at parroting information. They're stochastic models that predict what the next word should be, kind of look all right, okay? And then you can put all sorts of guardrails around them. But they were never, ever, ever designed or invented to deal with, let's say, mathematical problems or anything that could be done through rules-based approach. So be careful. You can't be excited if all you have is a hammer, then everything looks like a nail. No. Sorry.
No, that's a very good insight. Okay, Martin, so what do you think have been the biggest challenges in scaling Melior AI over the last 12 months?
Okay. 3 things I would say. One is money, and I will get into that. Second of all is retaining. Retaining is not the biggest problem, but attracting the right level of talent on an ongoing basis. I am very lucky to say that I have an incredible team, and I still have no idea why they choose to work with me and on this project rather than on something that would pay them 10x what we are able to pay them. Maybe they just love their work. Who knows? But that's so going back. Money, and hiring right sorts of people. Also, the third aspect is getting through to corporate buyers on a level that gives them comfort, because there is so much misinformation out there. There's so much marketing talk out there, and people are confused. Even the smartest, the best educated, the most experienced buyers are still confused. I see this getting a lot better in in 2024, but the amount of misinformation and just nonsense out there was not helpful.
Yeah, I had a very smart man the other day tell me that the way he looks at AI, because he speaks to quite a lot of corporates at a high level, and he discusses AI as part of his product. AI is like this magical flying car that when you tell these executives about it, they get really excited. But when they then are told to put their children inside the car and fly the magical car, they go, oh, no.
Exactly.
The education is the bridge to getting them to understand the value for their company.
Absolutely. And I think
it doesn't exist.
2024, 23 less, but 2024 was the year of experimentation, where enterprises did exactly what you said. Let's have a look at it. Let's kick the tires. Let's see what's going on. Are we going to put our children in it? Who knows? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not yet.
Exactly. So how are you bridging that gap, and how are you educating these higher ups in these companies?
Well, it takes persistence and partnerships. So persistence in terms of letting them experience what we built, and how do you make people more comfortable? So one of the tricks in our approach is human in the loop. Human in the loop, meaning we deliberately have tuned the system in such a way that it can flag aspects it is not too comfortable with to automate by itself, and it can be kicked up to a human for review. That's completely configurable, but it can be your human or my human, or a lawyer in the loop or whoever. So there's this option. So for a corporate buyer, they know that they have the knobs that they can tune it and say, okay, I am very comfortable. Let's automate 99.999%, or I am not so comfortable. Let's trigger the human in the loop at 70% or whatever it is of confidence levels. So that was big game changer.
It sounds like a pretty interesting feature. Are you calling that human in the loop?
Yeah. Well, actually, to be very honest, this is what it's known to everyone. We call it loop in the human. Why? Because if you shorten human in the loop, it suddenly sounds like Hitler. So I did not love that name. So my ancestors would have burned in their graves. So
awesome, amazing. Okay, so what are some big goals over the next 12 months, Mark?
Take it big. I mean, when I say take it big, meaning go for projects that are of a certain size, scale, right? Rather than small departmental trials and small departmental clients. Go big, deploy it to thousands of users. Make sure that benefit is felt.
Okay, and how are you planning to achieve that big lofty goal?
Mostly through partnerships. That's the strongest I think approach. We understand we are a small fly, startups that we haven't raised megatons of money, so it's sometimes hard to for a large company to trust somebody of our size. But we've managed to build a wonderful ecosystem with consultancies, leading consultancies in the world. So they have those established, beautiful, strong relationships with large companies.
Yeah.
And on the back of those relationships, we are able to roll out solutions in a controlled environment.
Right. Okay. And so how else are you going about client acquisition? Are you doing any sort of outreach? Is it?
Of course, we're doing outreach. Outreach is critical for a company our size. You need to keep talking to whoever you think your potential customers are. And it's a
Mhm.
question of constantly experimenting with personas, with different departmental users, and so on and so on, and reaching out to them. And it's well proven that the email is still the thing, and
Mhm.
that's what we do. Sorry,
Okay. And are you having a lot of success with email outreach?
we have, I would say, as much success as new Google rules would permit. We have pretty good engagement, or very good engagement, on what we do. Could we do better? Who couldn't? But yeah,
Sure. Okay. Awesome. So then let's say that you could wave a magic wand over one big problem right now and you could solve it just like that. What would that big problem be?
the problem that is probably easiest to solve with a little bit of thinking is top of the funnel. How do we increase the number of qualified leads, qualified good quality leads on the top of the funnel?
Hmm.
And of
Okay.
course, the other one is funding. I mean, funding is an interesting one because raising money requires deep thinking. Who are you raising the money from and why? And to raise money, it's not so difficult. To raise money from the right backers is harder. So that's
Certainly. Certainly. And I guess then finally, Martin, like if you could go back, 7 years ago, what's like one big thing that you might change building Melior AI that you've learned in your
there's a number of these things. I think the first one I'd be let's retake this one. I just bit my tongue on purpose. I would be more picky as to whom we took funding from. That's very, very important because
Mhm.
that can accelerate you or it can bury you in paperwork and nonsense. So that was probably the biggest difference.
Awesome. Okay, well, I really appreciate the time and the insights and some of the stories. It sounds like you guys are building something that's really important and solves a massive problem. I was dealing with contracts and stuff the other day, and ChatGPT and Claude was useless in giving me advice about it. So I need to check out Melio AI. Like, if somebody's listening to this, where can they go to learn a little bit more about you and Melio AI?
Melio.ai.
Easy, perfect,
Easily.
awesome. Well, thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you so much. Lovely to be here.